Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Pashvika. Welcome to the channel where we talk about the stuffs like we talk about the periods, we talk about the female cycle, we also talk about the self-help motivation, and also dealing with the mental stuff, being a female, a simple minimal lifestyle, that kind of stuff we talk a lot about on our channel. So if you are also female and if you're interested in such kind of content, consider subscribing because we upload weekly videos. So whenever we do so, you'll be getting notified about it. And let's get straight with today's video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the effect of the iron supplements on the menstrual cycle. Now, this is quite specific topic. And first of all, I want to tell you, I'm going to be sharing my own personal experience with this thing. And I feel like I did a little bit of the research. So I'm going to be sharing all that thing in this video. So let's dive in. Before go back, consider clicking the like button, guys. I do really appreciate that. And let's get straight with the video. Big disclaimer, guys, I am not professional doctor in this area. I'm not a gynecologist or I'm not a professional expert in this area. I'm just gonna be sharing my own experience so far with my own menstrual cycle, dealing with the taking more of the iron when I was having in my menstrual cycles. I'm going to be sharing everything based on my own experience and knowledge so far, and based on the research that I did on the internet regarding this particular thing. It's completely based on that. I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a medical expert in this area. So consider my advice with a grain of salt, or consider things that I'm going to be talking in this video with a grain of salt, because I'm going to be sharing my own personal experience and knowledge and the research what I did on the internet. For a very long time, I was thinking that I have an iron deficiency anemia, because I used to see the symptoms that I wasn't having that regular menstrual cycle. Sometimes it kind of like an irregular, and sometimes I get the symptoms of the iron deficiency anemia. So I thought that I have an iron deficiency anemia. I did the few signs and symptoms, and I also did the blood test to find out my hemoglobin level. So at that time it was normal, but then I felt like it was kind of like going down, and I was getting that symptoms, and I was like doing the research and all that. So I thought that let's give us some try. So what I did in the previous month or so, I had in an entire month I take a lot of the iron rich food. I was eating a lot of the iron rich food. I was eating some kind of a jaggery molasses that is extracted from the sugar cane that is rich in iron, and also I was having a lot of the sesame seeds. So that was the kind of thing I was having that was rich in the iron. So I was taking a lot of the iron back in the December for an entire month. So what happened when my periods first hit in the January, in the first week, according to the date, I have an application on my mobile phone where I actually got my cycle and measure that and keep a control on that and all that. I used to have a lot of the pain back in the menstrual cycle, but this time I never had. I didn't have any kind of physical pain or physical problem like cramps or some kind of like acne or something like that. It was completely normal. But the thing that I saw, that it was a prolonged bleeding. My cycle used to long kind of like 7 to 8 days. The menstrual cycle lasts for me, but this time it lasts for 10 days. And I was like, why it's so long? I was really worried. I was looking forward to get some medical help, talking to professional people, talking to a doctor, gynecologist about this particular thing. Then I was doing a little bit of the research and thinking what I actually take in my diet. Do I have any kind of stress, or am I not taking my food properly, or something is wrong with my cycle or something like that. So I did a kind of like 6 months back a recap of what I had, and then I realized I was having a good iron intake in the entire December. And that really actually increases the iron level in my body. And I am not a patient of iron deficiency anemia. I have a kind of like a blood level, a hemoglobin level, kind of like a normal, iron level normal. At times it go low because of the, if I had the harsh bleeding and I am not taking that much of the appropriate quantity of the iron in my food, then a little bit low it goes down, but I don't have an iron deficiency anemia in general. So I remember that I take an entire iron all throughout the month of the December, and that really increased the prolonged bleeding. So I did a research article on a Google, and that article was clearly describing about the effect of iron on the menstrual cycle. Now, I see that people talk a lot. In fact, the gynecologist and everywhere the people talk a lot, the female has to have a proper iron intake in their body. And I hear that because there are so many females in the world that are having the iron deficiency anemia. And that's kind of like a serious problem if you're not taking a proper amount of iron in your diet. And that's really a serious thing. And I hear that. But then I was like kind of like thinking, what if we take a lot of the iron in our body? What if we take a lot of the iron intake? We are taking an iron rich diet. What if it just backfire? Because we know that everything has a perfect balance, and we need to take the things in a perfect balance. We don't want something to be too high or too low. We need to have the hormonal level in our body equal, like estrogen and progesterone needs to be at their balance level as it should be. Focusing on, like, we need to have a balance. If I'm taking more of the iron, maybe it would backfire on my cycle, maybe it would have a negative impact on my cycle. And I think that that really happened. So I'm going to leave this article in the description box below if you guys really want to check it out. But that article is about published in the International Journal of Hematology Research, and an overlooked side effect of iron treatment, changes in menstruation. So what they did, they actually did an experiment on female patients, 128 non-pregnant female patients. I'm not talking about the pregnancy over here. If you are pregnant, then it's quite a different story. Please refer your expert. Please refer to gynecologist or a doctor or medical expert to help you in that area. I'm just talking about the female who are in the menstrual cycle and those that are not pregnant. Okay, they actually experimented on 128 non-pregnant female patients who were diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia were enrolled in the study. So did the experiment on iron deficiency anemia females, anemic females, that were 128. And what they did, menstrual status at the time of diagnosis and menstrual changes 2 months after the iron treatment were noted for all the patients. So that's what they did, and they come to a conclusion after doing that experimenting and after seeing their hormonal level and after seeing their menstrual cycle, how it goes while they had their iron supplements all throughout that time. So they that while menstrual changes were observed in 50% of the patients, no changes occurred in the remaining 50%. So it was kind of like a strange for me as well. Like in some of the 50% of the patients, they see the changes. In some of the 50% of the females, they see the changes. And in other, it didn't had any change. So of the patient with menstrual changes, 18.8% had increased menstrual bleeding. So 18.8% of the female had increased menstrual bleeding, and 19.5% had decreased menstrual bleeding, and 7.8% had early menstrual bleeding, and 3.9% had delayed menstrual bleeding. So this kind of chart was there in that experiment, and they did a small experiment, and it was kind of strange. The results were quite strange. 50, and they actually tell here over here, although their study is not that vast, they still need more research. And I think that the female menstrual cycle still need a lot of the research, especially on the females who are non-pregnant, who are in that phase of the menstrual cycle before the menopause. They had to do the more experiment to come to a conclusion what kind of things actually suits to the female body, because female body is not like a male body, and everyone knows about that. And we have the two clocks. If you are also in the menstrual cycle and you also go through the periods like me, then you would be having two clocks. One is the circadian rhythm, and another one is the clock that we have, this menstrual cycle. So we have to find a balance between these two cycles. We can't have a circadian rhythm every time working in our favor, like waking up in the morning, eat, sleep, routine, eat, sleep, and work and repeat. It doesn't work in our way. We can't be like that, kind of like a hustle culture, because we have a second cycle, that is a menstrual cycle. And according to that cycle, we do need a rest like in some part of their cycle, and so that they need a more experiment in this thing. They need a more research in this area, because the research is kind of like lacking. They say a lot about having a rich iron diet in your supply, in your food while you're menstruating. While you are in your menstrual cycle, you need to have a rich iron. Of course, you need to have a rich iron, but what if you take too much of it and it would just backfire? So that what is clearly described in this particular article, in this particular experiment. So they come to a discussion that it is not easy to explain the mechanism of this side effect due to the absence of literature data. So there is no literature data in this particular thing. They talk a lot about having a good iron intake in our body for the female who is menstruating, but they don't talk about what if you take a lot of the iron and it would just backfire, or it would just have a negative side effect on your menstrual cycle. So there is a lack of the literature data. There is a lack of the research in this area. I think in the future upcoming years there would be more research, because we need a more research. Female body needs more research. They deserve a lot, and we consider that various factors. There are the various factors that could lead to that. If you're taking more iron, or if you're taking an iron, what does it impact on your menstrual cycle? Let me talk about according to this experiment. So they say that endometrial proliferation affecting factors. So due to the iron intake, endometrial proliferation may increases, because the cells in the endometrium may increases proliferating. So that could be the one of the leading reason. Another thing, directly or indirectly, effects of iron, it could be the factor in the menstrual cycle. The vascular effects, estrogen, or hematologic effects as well. So there is a long explanation they are giving about the vascularization, vascular constriction. Now I'm not going to go that much into the scientific study over here, but I can clearly see that you need to have a proper balance of the iron intake in your body when you're menstruating, when your menstrual cycle. I'm not talking about the females in the menopause, or who have reached to the menopause, or after the menopause, or the females who haven't reached yet the puberty. I'm talking only about the females who are in the menstruating phase, starting from the puberty till they reach to the menopause. So I'm only talking about that particular phase. And in that particular phase, the females who are non-pregnant. I'm not talking about the pregnancy over here. That's a completely different story. So I'm talking about that only, and it's completely based on my own research and knowledge so far. That's what I'm thinking, that we do need a lot of the research in this area to actually come to a conclusion. What are the positive and the negative side effect of iron intake in our body, especially on the menstrual cycle? Because if you are iron deficient anemic patient, then you need iron supplements to actually have a normal menstrual cycle and normal female body and all that. But what if you take a lot of it and it would simply backfire, or it would simply have another effect on your menstrual cycle? So knowledge and own experience so far, and what I saw in that particular experiment, in that article, in what they did, the research on the females, and they experimented it and they saw the conclusion, and they say that iron has an effect on the menstrual cycle, but still we need a lot of the research in this area to actually prove the point, whether it's a positive, whether it's a negative. But this is entirely based on what I think so far, what has been working for me, because I see if I take a lot of the iron, it simply backfire on my body. So let me know your own experience as being a female. Have you ever take a lot of the iron supplements or iron intake, or via food or whatever you eat? You had a lot of the iron in your body, and does it has any kind of effect on your own menstrual cycle or not? Whether positive, whether negative, whether you have a prolonged bleeding, whether it's a delayed bleeding or early bleeding or something like that. Let me know if you had seen any kind of changes in your own menstrual cycle, especially the periods, with this particular iron intake. Let me know in the comment section below, because I think that we females deserve so much more and so much better, and we need to be researched more about our body. Of course, our body is complex because it has the 2 cycles, unlike the male body, which don't have that one. Unlike all those people who don't menstruate, they don't have those 2 cycles. We have the 2 cycles, and we need to think about these 2 cycles and manage them in a way that is healthy for ourselves, healthy for our body, for our mind, and for everything. So that is, I think it's really important, and we do need a lot of the research, especially on the females who are non-pregnant and who are menstruating. We need a lot of the research in this area, because I think the research is lacking. There is not much resources out there in the internet talking about this particular thing, about the menstrual cycle, the different changes, the different things. And this article itself is saying that there is not a lot of the research done. There is no such data in the literature. We need to have a kind of like a right balance in our body. We can't take too much of it that it just simply backfire, or it simply has a side effect or a negative effect on our body. The purpose behind this video and behind this channel is all about to actually talk about the more female, like we female leads deserve a lot, and we are kind of like underrepresented in the society, and we still want to figure out our own way. And that's what my purpose is, me being a female myself. I'm going to be sharing my own experience and knowledge so far in the video, so maybe it will going to helpful to you. Maybe you can relate to your situation, to you as well. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, because I think that female do deserve a separate area. We do need to be researched a lot, especially about our menstrual cycle. We need a proper data for our body. We need a proper things to actually balance our body. To have a healthy body, we need to be deserve a separate space in this universe, deserve a separate area, and we have to have a space in this universe to actually represent ourselves, to actually be we being a female respected in a way, the way our body is made, the way we are made. Of course, we have a complex body, but it's so beautiful that we have the ability to give birth to young ones. That's so beautiful, and we need to cherish that instead of actually taking it as a bad thing. We need to cherish the cycle that we have, because it's so beautifully made. The universe has made it so beautifully. So that's what the purpose is, that I'm going to be sharing my own experience, my own knowledge in these videos on this channel. So you can talk to me in the comment section below and you can relate to this particular thing, because that's what my purpose. So hopefully this video will going to help you in letting know whether iron has any kind of effect on menstrual cycle if you are taking too much of it. Like, everyone talks about taking an appropriate balance, everyone talks about having an iron intake in your body as being a female, but what if you just take a lot? What if it just backfire? What if it have a negative effect on your cycle? So hopefully this video will going to help you. Consider subscribing if you are also female, because this channel will going to focusing completely on the females, because we females deserve a lot. And we don't need to be underrepresented in the society. We need a separate space in a society as a female in this universe, and we do contribute a lot to this universe, so we deserve a lot. So that's what the purpose of my channel, to actually talk about that, because I'm myself a female, so I also undergo a lot of the things in my own life which I feel like I want to share it with the other people, kind of like creating a community where each and every female support each other, help each other to actually represent their role in the society, and to do the things which they want to do, and actually have a fulfilling female life, and cherishing the beauty of the female body, physically, mentally, emotionally, in all the aspects of it, and living a fully satisfied life as a female. So hopefully this video will going to help you. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you for the next time. Take care. Bye guys.